Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jenny Montgomery. Thank you so much for joining us today as we talk about heart health, a very cool Georgia-grown initiative, and a children's book that's just come out, written by a mother-daughter duo from the two-state. So, you see the Queen over here. We celebrated my mother's 91st birthday in January. You may remember I told you about her big 90th surprise party last year, so I wanted to share these pictures from our intimate girls weekend celebration this year. My sister Amy flew in from Phoenix and we had a lovely lunch on her special day. Then when we got back to her house, my daughter Maddie and my niece were waiting for us. They had fun decorations, and Maddie made one of her elaborate cakes for her Nana. It was a nice weekend. 3 generations sharing stories, champagne toasts, and playing fun games. We are so blessed to have our Queen, and we cherish her, the life lessons she imparts, and the youthful spirit that makes her so amazing. Happy 91, Mama. And speaking of mamas and their girls, we begin today with a mother-daughter team who put their heads together during the COVID lockdown and wrote a children's book, The Sharing Sheep. It's just launched this month. Nancy Scott and her daughter, Anne Danielson, are here with me today. We are so glad that you all took the time to come and tell us about The Sharing Sheep. But before we get to the book, I want to get to the story of what made you decide, let's write a book?
Well, it started, we were in COVID lockdown and the parks were all taped off. So we were spending a lot of time at home. And my now 5-year-old was then 3, just started playing with this sheep. And we got so much inspiration from her, this joy in such kind of a dark time. Yeah. And we thought, we need to write this book and share this light and joy.
I love that. You know, a lot of people have an idea, I want to write a book, but you all actually did it. I mean,
yes.
How did you find a publisher and everything?
So Anne came over, we decided this is a great story. I love the story. And there were several stories that you and Lynn would discuss together, but this one seemed to just hit us at the right moment. We wrote it, and we wrote it in verse, and we'd go back and forth and keep working on it. Finally, we thought, okay, this is it. And we sent a manuscript to several publishers,
okay.
the ones who were accepting submissions. Not everyone does submit or accept. We got a lot of no's back, but Austin McCauley wrote and said, we are happy to inform you that we've accepted your manuscript, and asked some questions and wanted to know if we had illustrations to go with it. And Anne and I had some sketches.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was actually on the way to the zoo when my mom called me and said, we got accepted, and I had to pull over and do a little celebration. I was so excited. So.
Yes.
I would have been too. That is really,
we were very
excited.
Neat. Yeah. Very excited. And they asked for your sketches.
Yes.
Basically, you did most of the sketches and she sent them in, and
they digitized them.
And the engineer is also an artist. Okay.
Exactly.
Got it. She's an engineer, and she is. And she has taken time off to raise her 3 children, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's
Fabulous.
exactly right.
Just a very talented young lady.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, got it all from my mom.
Okay, well now speaking of got it from your mom, I can imagine if my mother and I were working on a project together, I think I would fall into daughter role. Did you stay on level? I mean, were you like peers? Or
that's a really interesting.
Or do you tend to be a little bossy? And my way's going to win because I
know
that's right. Listen to me.
Yeah, but Anne reminds me when I get a little bossy.
But really, you know,
No, but
Mom has been was a teacher for 25 years, and so when it comes to grammar, I mean, I was in daughter mode. Let her go there. But I really feel like we've always been good friends, even when we were young. So it's kind of more of I would say a peer.
Yes, yeah.
Grammar,
It's
mom,
just terrific. Okay, now your children, tell me who we're looking at now.
Yes, so this is my 5-year-old Lynn, and this is her sheep. I mean, they were inseparable, still inseparable, for many, many years.
This is Sheepy, right?
This
That's
is Sheepy.
Okay.
She named Sheepy, which was a gift
Sheepy
for my
right
daughter Charlotte, and was quickly usurped
And
by
we have
Lynn.
Charlotte over here, don't we?
Yes, that is Charlotte and Lynn at the zoo, and I think that was actually the day we found out
Of the manuscript.
Yeah, yes.
Wow.
And Chad has the sheep.
Well, you know, through this sheet, you're teaching a lot of important lessons for children. Your book has several themes, okay? So tell me how that comes into play. How do you talk about sharing and kindness and these sort of things in the book?
In this story, we have 4 different animals, and they were animals that you and Lynn and Charlotte discussed. We have a sheep, a bird. So the sheep is hungry. The bird is cold in his nest. We have an ant stuck on a rock, can't get off in a river, cannot get to shore. And we have a drowning worm. And each of these animals is accustomed to thinking of him or herself and not thinking of others. And all of a sudden the sheep goes, you know, today I need to be at my best. I need to start thinking about how to solve all these problems. Mine especially as he's hungry, poor sheep is hungry, and he starting the circle of sharing. And through collaboration and sharing, they each solve their problems.
I love that. I love it. Now, what do your daughters think about the book?
They are incredibly excited to see Sheepy have a book all about him. They love it. They understand the message, and they know how important sharing is, especially in a family unit and with siblings. So it's
And
been
your
helping.
siblings are close together, so they
Yes.
are learning all this.
Yes,
I mean, not
5,
your
3, and
siblings,
2.
your children.
My children,
Yeah,
5,
right.
3, and 2-year-old. So I have a 2-year-old Barrett, and that came after we wrote this book. So that's why he still loves Sheepy, but he wasn't there during the conception. So.
Oh,
But
wow.
we dedicated the book to all 3, even though she was expecting Barrett. We knew Barrett
Yes.
was coming, so
Yes.
he's
Yeah.
in there.
So he's there.
He's there, yeah. So it's been a lot of fun seeing them. They call this the sharing sheep, and they pass them around. And if someone is sick or hurt, they pass the sheep to them, and it's a real staple in our
Well,
home.
it's really sweet, and actually, when they came in the studio and I saw Sheepy, I said to Anne, "Oh, was this yours?" And she goes, "No, it's my children's." And it is a very loved little sheep. You
Yes.
can just tell.
Yes.
I love it. What a great story and a great concept. How can people now that it has launched? How do people get a copy of it?
Amazon and Barnes & Noble are the 2 biggest carriers, and also just directly from Austin and Macaulay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, have you been to Barnes and Noble and seen it there? And,
No,
taking selfies. Are you going to do that when you leave here?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, we are going to go to Barnes & Noble for sure. We have a meeting set up.
They have it online right now.
Uh-huh.
And we have a meeting set up where we're going to talk about a book signing there.
Absolutely.
And they're considering bringing the book in to put on their shelves.
Wonderful.
So we're excited
Wonderful.
about that.
So much of the book buying is online now, isn't it?
is.
Yes.
Yeah. And I guess that makes it really great for the writers because a lot more people can have access when they don't actually have to physically go somewhere to buy it.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, we're excited, and we have a second book that we're working on, actually.
Really?
So we're going to stay with the theme of telling a story, but also having an important message within that story.
And you said you were a teacher.
I
Right,
was.
right.
I taught grades 3 to 8, but my most recent years I was teaching grade 8 English and loved it.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. So you have this in you, this whole sort of storytelling mentality, don't you?
And I love books, and I love libraries, and love bookstores, and it just seems to be part of our being. And even with our kids growing up, Anne is the youngest of 3, storytelling, books, that was just a part of our lives.
And always sneaking a little moral into a story as kids that I can now realize as an adult was done. So
Yeah.
Isn't that neat? You know, one of my favorite things when my children were born, I had a few special books from my childhood that I really wanted to share with them. And one was The Adventures of Raggedy Ann and Andy. I mean, I just absolutely loved Raggedy Ann and Andy. And then, Nancy, do you remember Flicka, Ricka, and Dicka?
Oh,
Yeah, okay.
absolutely.
And I found a bookstore that would order those for me. And so my kids all know Flicka, Ricka, and Dicka.
oh, that's cute.
But books are just so important, I think, and such a wonderful way for children to learn and for their imaginations just to take off.
And even having the children sit with mom
Yeah.
and dad, because he's
Yes.
involved
Oh, yeah.
as
Big
well
reader.
with the reading. That's just, it's all that feeling of being together.
It is. It's so important. Congratulations on this venture, you two. That's
Thank you.
very, very exciting.
Thank you.
And I'm so happy to share with our audience the book, The Sharing Sheep, And now you know how you can get it. You can just go online, you can go to Barnes & Noble, you can go to Amazon. And when you see Nancy and Anne around, do tell them congratulations, because this is a really big deal. Thanks, y'all, for being
Thank
here.
you, and
Thank you
thank you
so
for
much.
having us.
Absolutely.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.